It's not going back to normal. We need to be forward thinking, and often it means coming out of our comfort zone and doing something we haven't done before.
Hey guys, Jesse Reed here with Jump Entertainment. I'm here with Darryl Hurs. How's it going, Darryl?
Great, man. Thanks for having me here. I'm real excited and looking forward to this chat.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you. You are one of the people that is really making the Canadian independent music scene what it is. For anybody who hasn't heard your name, which I assume most people watching this will have, but in case they haven't, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh man, you're really pumping me up here. Uh, so yeah, my name's Darryl Hurs, and I run Indie Week Canada. We've been doing so. I think it's about our 18th or 19th year. Last year doesn't seem like a year almost, like we've lost one. And then as well, I do the market development for Canada for CD Baby.
Nice. And you guys have got a pretty cool new project coming up here. Can you tell us about that there?
So if I can give just a little bit of a backstory, last year we all know it was difficult for everybody. A lot of figuring it out as we go. Uh, we had canceled Indie Week and then brought Indie Week back as an online conference. It was like literally 2.5 months to put it all together, which was crazy. We had such a good response. We didn't want to wait till November to do something else. Like let's keep this momentum going. But also a really important part is there's been this sense of community online. We see a lot of the same people participating, and a lot of it has been about being a positive message on we can get through this, we can move forward, and we could do so successfully. So a lot of what we're trying to do is connect artists, connect businesses, talk about the future and educate, because we will get through this and there will be business and it may look totally different. So we should be ready for that. So we announced and launched a new conference online called Screen by Screen. And it is February 16th to 20th. ScreenXScreen.com is the website address. And we're really excited. It's all about music and tech, gaming, VR, AI, and of course, live streams. And it's a really a telling point right now where just in the news over the last week, the amount of announcements, Live Nation acquiring majority ownership of Veeps, which is a live streaming company that was created with the Good Charlotte brothers, the Madden brothers. And that just says a lot. If Live Nation is willing to invest, that's a direction everybody should be looking at. I actually worked for Live Nation as a freelancer. I did a lot of design work for them for about 8-9 years. And, it's a strong company. It's led by really smart individuals. So I take a look at it as if that's the direction they're going, we should all be sort of looking in that direction. And if somebody doesn't really know a lot about Live Nation, they're the world's largest music promoter of live events. And, they're that size because they're good at what they do. They know what they're doing. And if they're moving towards live streaming, we should be taking a close look at it. I believe they own something like 92, 96 venues around the world. Those are physical locations that can't be used during all this time. So they've got some ground to make back, and I'm pretty confident they will. So again, it's about gaming, AI, VR, live streaming, and how to monetize that as an artist, as somebody in the music business. It's going to be a lot of really in-depth conversations, meaningful. And we also have some segments where it's introductions to international businesses as well. Chile, Africa, UK, Eastern Europe. It's all over South America, like Brazil. It's going to be pretty exciting, but it also shows the world is moving towards online content and monetization. So it's a really exciting time. I'm super stoked. Sorry, that was a long answer, but it's it's the kind of thing that I'm really passionate about, is trying to connect people and help.
Nice, nice. Yeah, no, that's incredible. I took place in the Indie Week conference. I've been part of a lot of these virtual conferences over the course of the last year, and that was certainly one of my favorites. It was one of the most valuable. I'm sure most of the artists that came there got a lot of value out of that. Because as you were saying, like it's not just people talking to you. You guys are very big on building a community, and not just within Canada but internationally. Can you tell us a little bit about how, like, I'm sure things didn't start off this way. How did you guys build up this huge community that you now have to be able to do things like this?
A lot of sweat equity. It's just like building an independent band on an independent budget, being present, going to a lot of events, participating. I say it all the time, and like, just go, be online now, or be present, uh, comment, communicate, talk. Like, you got to participate, and that's how you can move forward. And I've been very fortunate to have met a good group of people. Um, when you're on the conference trail, as we say, like, you start seeing the same people, and it's really weird. Like, I'll give you an instance. Before lockdown, it was 2019, I think it was September, October. I was in Korea for MUCON and saw some people there I knew, which was great. Hopped on a plane, went to Vancouver to hop on a plane to Yukon for Breakout West. And at the airport, I'm seeing people I know that are on their way to Whitehorse. And I'm also seeing other people that are coming from Korea on their way to Whitehorse. And so you end up seeing people in all these different territories, and it kind of puts you in that position to actually go, hey, I see you around. Like, what do you do? And after you see people enough, all of a sudden it's like a friend that you're really welcoming to see. And I'm really missing my conference friends right now, because normally we're out there traveling and at these events. So I'm really lucky. I've got a really good group of people, and they share a lot of these same values. And so online last year, I started seeing them at all these other events online and so forth. And so it's you have to be present to get to build a network. And a lot of this business is who you know. In fact, almost all of it is who you know. And if you aren't there, nothing's going to happen. If you don't comment, if you don't participate in a conversation, no one's going to comment back to you or contact you later. It's just so important. And so over the years, we had different goals. We started as a hobby for a long time. This was just a thing to do to try to help bands, and it kept growing. And then it was 2007. There was a band from Ireland called Vestavaro that I thought were amazing. And I ended up managing them for a few years. So I was over in Ireland quite a bit. And we started actually doing Indie Week in Ireland with their help and their connections. And that included members of the Cranberries, also Crowded House, and so forth. Like, they were part of that circle. And then, UK is a bigger market, so we moved it to the UK for a few years. And then Brexit happened. And so we stopped doing the UK because there's too many question marks, like, when's it actually going to take effect? And if so, can bands actually travel to the UK from Italy and so forth? So we just focused on Canada. But during that process, we just kept building more international presence. The last in-person event was 2019, and we had about 225 bands, and I think it was about artists from 16 different countries were represented, and it's quite the overtaking of a project. It's a year-long endeavor to put something together, and yeah, it's I'm very happy where we're at, and we're very lucky. So it is not an overnight type of thing. You gotta build the groundwork. You got to do the framework. You got to do the follow-ups. You got to do the planning and so forth. So we're actually in the process right now, planning our entire year. We've got a number of conferences coming up. So this is the first of multiple.
Nice, nice. Okay, so people can be expecting more of these type conferences throughout the year.
Yes, yes.
Incredible.
And we're trying to focus on different aspects. So this screen by screen, again, February 16th to 20th is music and tech. And I can say in April, we're going to have another conference that's more on education of all the components an artist needs to do, from song, the conception of the song, the writing, to the production, recording, to the publishing, royalty collection, distribution, the marketing, and so forth. So basically take a song from an idea to finished product and making money from it. So that's in April. And we're going to be announcing more about that this week, actually. So I'm pretty excited about that. And November is the month that we do Indie Week, which is the big everything and everything. With a lot of international focus. So that's going to have more international than the other ones, and a lot of chances to connect and meet. And we've got a fourth one that's kind of in the works, and that's as far as I can say about it, but there's going to be another one in between somewhere in there.
Cool. Okay, so we'll have to stay tuned to figure out what that one is.
Yeah.
That's incredible. There's honestly so much for artists to learn, and especially now in today's landscape, like things are changing so quickly. I think especially with the screen by screen that you got coming up, like things like AI and things like video games are not things that I would say the average musician is probably educated in.
We're all learning, and the part of the thing is that's probably the issue for most people is the fact that tech is moving so fast, and companies are being purchased, and there's acquisitions going on. It's even hard to say, like, keep track of who owns who and who's doing what with who. But the point is, it's all heading in that direction. And I've seen firsthand with what we did with Indie Week last year, a lot of the comments we got, one overly positive, which was amazing. You know, you put work in, and to get like all these positive comments, you know, a lot of people said it felt like a conference. It was very smooth and the interactions were great. But we also had comments from, I've always wanted to go to Indie Week, but couldn't. I live in Alberta. I live in Manitoba. I live in Saskatchewan or BC or another country. And I didn't have to pay for a flight. I didn't have to pay for a hotel. And also, a lot of the people said, I actually worked while listening in. So people could still do their work and listen in. So the platform has changed, and it's actually opened the doors to allow many more people to attend. And we saw that in terms of people who hadn't been before. And so that's exciting. And if I was an artist, I would be like, man, we live on a planet, and there's a market to be had in many different territories that I, as an artist, would not be able to go to. And these conferences, you know, I say there's a conference trail, get to know them, and you could be attending. A lot of them are either really cheap or there's free tickets available, and you have access to all this information from speakers, panelists, and so forth. And you get to learn about a market before you go there. And so during this time, I would be connecting and building a team, an audience in all the markets I would be interested in going to if we could travel and play in them, so that when things get kind of back to normal, I can not wait till it get back to normal and then try, because you'll be left behind because others will have done it instead.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. This is the last year. Oh God, it's going to be a year pretty soon that we've been in this situation. Yeah, there's a lot of bands that are really excelling, and they're going to all these conferences, and there's a lot of bands that have been putting things on hold. Yeah, which, like, all these bands have had this year to build up all those kind of things, and like all the people who were attending Indie Week and going to all these conferences, like how much of an advantage do you think they're going to have over the bands who are waiting for this to end before they're coming back with anything?
It's night and day. It's night and day. My previous call was a meeting with an artist. I used to manage a band of his years ago. I'm not going to say how long because I'm pretty old, but they were called the Inner City Surfers. And so start of COVID last year, Mikey, he's the drummer of the band. I noticed on his Facebook, he was doing cover songs on his ukulele. Every day he would just play a cover song, and it was like a punk cover, but on a ukulele. Kind of cool. And he started, like, these are videos. So I actually reached out and I said, are you putting these on YouTube? Are you actually taking the audio and releasing it as a single? What are you doing with this? Like, you could be building it as opposed to just posting it.
Yeah.
Well, we just had a call, and his YouTube channel that was created after that is now at over 11,000 subscribers.
Wow.
One of his videos just hit over 200,000 views. And it's turned into where he does a cover, but with like punk rock icons, like Noodles from The Offspring is playing guitar in some of them. Guys from Goldfinger, guys from, I should be able to name them all, like Descendants, like there's just all these, he's just now reaching out to these bands and they're saying, sure. Fishbone was in one as well.
So is this Michael you're talking about?
Mikey and his uke.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Oh my God, like,
yeah,
that video series is incredible. Like, I started seeing him doing those, and I was like, this is genius. Like, the fact that this is like how you are kind of positioning all these things during a pandemic, like, yeah, genius.
That's it. And so that channel didn't exist, and now he's on his way. And I'm saying it in this video so that everybody can go watch Mikey and his uke, and please subscribe and watch the story grow, because it's going to, and be part of it. But that's the thing. That's just an example of an artist doing something. And I get it. Mental health is really hard. Like, I've been through stuff and I see stuff. We try to support as best we can the Unison Benevolent Fund. We've raised some money for them. Anytime anyone buys a ticket, there's an option. And even if you get a free ticket, there's still the option to donate $5 and we match it. So we're putting money towards Unison Fund, which helps musicians or anyone in the music community in Canada. But the thing that I try to do is talk about positives and moving forward and try to get through this. And there's a lot of people in the business, artists and industry, that are saying, I can hardly wait for it to get back to normal. And the thing is, it's not going back to normal.
Yeah.
We need to be forward thinking, and often it means coming out of our comfort zone and doing something we haven't done before, right? Things are different. I have to do things that are different. And we have to do that to move forward. And, that's what evolution is. Like, we're able to evolve, and, the music business has forever changed, and we need to be ready for it. When I was growing up, my dad had 8-track cassettes, or whatever you want, cartridges, cassettes. Yeah. I don't even know what you call them, just 8 tracks. And then there was vinyl, and then there was cassettes. I was a cassette guy. I had like thousands of cassettes, and then CDs, right? And then it went digital to MP3s, and you could buy them. No one buys them anymore, right? You could download them. Why download it when you can stream it? So the one thing about the evolution of music is it has actually gone from a physical thing to air. It's nothing now. And that's where the value has kind of gone downhill too. So nobody owns music anymore, right? And as a fan, I loved owning music. I love having a collection of music. Now people are like, I have a subscription. And what's really scary is, let's say an agreement has come to its end, and all of a sudden that music's gone. Now you can't even get it anywhere because it's no physical thing. So we devalued music to a sense that there's no thing. But so what I feel is we're now in the transition of what's the next thing, right? So we've gone to, like, I'm going to shorten the chain, but it's like MP3 downloads to streaming. Now there's what's the next thing, right? Now I got to be careful what I say because I've got a device over here. It's turning into, now I don't even have to go to a store. I literally just say, hey, Google, and it is listening, and I say what I want to hear.
Yeah.
It may talk, but because I said something, right? But so now I'm like literally saying what songs I want to hear. And sometimes it's not even the song or the artist. I just say, hey, I want to hear rock. And also it just starts playing stuff. So that's music discovery now, is through voice. And literally on my LinkedIn today, I noticed a major label just hired somebody for voice management. So we got to be looking at where this is going. And part of the battles between majors and indies is majors have the staff and the money to move there. And us indies are always responsive. Oh, that's what's happening now. And the truth is, well, this is what's been happening for 5 years, and to slowly catch up to it. And so that's part of it, is we need to try to be forward thinking and evolve faster to be part of this game. And as far as the live shows go, you may have heard me talk about this. I'm just championing it a little bit out there, but it's a kind of thing where, think of the UFC model. There is an in-person event. It's at a stadium. It's sold out. Ringside, $5,000 to $10,000 as a ticket, right? But you can't go. Pay-per-view, right? So I think we need to change the words live stream to pay-per-view. And there's just this sort of like stigma about live stream, like, oh, that's you on a couch or in your kitchen.
Yeah.
Pay-per-view has sort of this reputation as like, oh, that's VIP kind of stuff. So let's say a UFC event, it takes place in a physical stadium, it's packed. Ringside tickets are $5,000 to $10,000, right? But they also have this VIP deal where you can go to the press release, you can go to the workout sessions, maybe an autograph session, get a photo with the fighters, and so on. Think of that as a music experience, right? So right now, people are like, oh, I can hardly wait to get back to normal. Okay, how do we see touring taking place when you can't travel to other countries? Even this last few days, our Canadian government has said, if you come back, you're quarantining, period. And the logistics of touring in a normal sense is a nightmare.
Yeah.
If every country has different entry codes and leaving, like, how do you go from Italy to Canada and you got to quarantine your whole road crew and everybody? You're going to lose so much money.
Yeah.
All these big businesses, you can guarantee they are figuring out how to make money moving forward because they hate losing money. So they're evolving right now. They may not be talking about it because they're working on it, but I would see a UFC type model, in-person event. You can upsell through different types of packages. Even if we're online, you get to Zoom with the artist, ask questions. You get keepsakes and souvenirs in the mail, all autographed and things like that. And you can pay a premium, or you could pay just the normal ticket price, right? And think of it. Metallica did a concert last year that beamed out to hundreds of drive-ins.
Yeah.
And James Hetfield was probably at home in bed and woke up and looked at his bank account and went, oh, that worked.
Yeah, no kidding.
Do they feel like hauling stuff with them around the world for 2 years again, or maybe set up these kind of shows? You know, the other things to think about is things are digital, which means Well, I bet it's going to be on Netflix or Amazon in 6 to 12 months. That's another income source. If it was recorded, which I'm sure it was, that could all be released on Spotify as a live album. All the videos could be chopped up and put onto YouTube and monetized with Content ID. So James will probably sit there and go, oh, so it's 2 years later and I'm still making money from that 2-hour show that we did.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of exciting. Now people will be like, well, that's kind of boring with the touring and live person experience. Or they could say, well, it's a digital realm, and with VR, we could have this amazing setting going on in the background. We could enhance the experience. As a viewer, you could say, I want to be next to the drummer or the guitarist or right next to the singer. You know, like there's so many things. And as a merchandiser, you could be like, well, as I'm watching this experience, an Easter egg could pop up and you get access to this one limited edition t-shirt that'll show up at your home. And with digital platforms and stuff, you could probably have it manufactured in every major city so that shipping is from your own city.
Yeah.
So I would be like, what's going to be more enticing to a Live Nation, to a manager of one of these big bands or record labels? Probably something like that, you know?
Yeah.
Just saying, you know, we got to go with money. And I take this from a personal experience, and I say it not to be harsh or mean, but our opinions means nothing. We need to learn that. And I think that's one of the things that holds us back, because it's like, I'll be talking to bands and they'll go, well, I think, and I'm, whoa, not trying to put it down, but think about where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And so again, my personal experience, and I say this with Metallica because I was working at HMV years ago, and I remember an album came out and we're receiving shipment of product in the back room, and I'm opening boxes and I go, where's the cassettes? They didn't make them. Oh, but I use cassettes. Yeah, well, your opinion doesn't matter to them. Right?
Yeah.
And just like at some point, I'm like, you know, I'm looking at my computer. I'm like, where do I put the CDs? No, they don't do that anymore either. I'm like, but I have all these CDs.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, they didn't call you for your opinion, but they just changed things. And so I've been able to sort of distance myself from that approach and go, what makes sense? Because that's what's going to happen regardless if I like it or not.
Yeah, that's a hard pill to swallow, I feel like, but like the absolute truth, right? Like that's the way the world keeps moving. And as much as, but I'm sure that's something you learned doing through Indie Week, or I guess you said even before HMV and all those kind of things. But sometimes your opinion, you got to get a lot of opinions to know what works, because we are all, every human is strange. We all have weird thoughts going on, right? So like to get outside opinion is so important.
Well, it's my whole life. Like I've been, ever since grade 6, I've wanted to do this music stuff. And my opinion, I was fueled by my opinion many times, especially as I was a musician in a band or bands. And that usually was my downfall, tell you the truth.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not till I'm able to take a step back and kind of not have that emotional component. And I get it, because it's your art, it's your creation. But the world changes and moves. And, you know, a friend of mine, another type of story is a friend of mine managed a band. He got them signed to a major $1 million deal. They were in LA recording music. And literally halfway through the recording session, they got a phone call and said, hey, so this grunge thing is happening. You're gone. Your hair metal, gone. Just like that, overnight, grunge overtook everything, and hair metal was not cool anymore. the record label already invested $500,000 into the recording of the project, and they just said, we're going to lose money moving forward with you. And they bought them out and all that stuff, but like that was it. You know.
Yeah.
One of them one of them actually made it, and he just left a major metal band. I'm not going to say who he is, but he went through a hard time, but he did end up making it, but all of a sudden he's in like hardcore metal, not hair metal.
Right.
And these are things that happen, and we just gotta accept it. It's hard, but we just gotta go. Like it took me a lot, because I was so resistant to so many things. It took me a lot to just go, yeah, okay. And I found out, wow, that's so much easier. I'm not stressing. I don't have that mental health stuff. I'm not like, why isn't anybody this, that? And like, no, I just said, okay, sure. And so, we're an example. Like last year, when COVID started, I'm just like, cancel it all. Like we canceled. We weren't going to do a thing. Let's not stress. I'm going to have a year off. It's going to be great. But then I started seeing, oh, we could do this online, right? And the rewards have been amazing. And we do a weekly session every Tuesday, and that's got a community now. And we've done mentorships. We're busier than we've ever been, and this year we're doing 3 to 4 conferences. We're way busier than we've ever been. And it's interesting. So that's one thing too, is that through change, there's always an option, and for positivity, growth, momentum. But there's also like, man, there's a chance that I could be the first at this new thing. And that could be like groundbreaking and a leader. And wow, we could really make something out of this stuff. So, think of bands. Who was the first to do grunge? Right? Who's the first to get a record label for grunge? And who is like within the first 5 that took up? They're still playing. Right? Well, yes and no.
Those that are alive.
Those that are alive, like Alice in Chains is still going, Pearl Jam's still going, and so that's the thing, is that you can evolve and be part of it, or not, and it's tough. And I think that's where the mental health issues really can come into play, is you want to just keep it the same. You just want it, don't change things, and it's tough on an artist, and it's tough on a business. Restaurants are like that. They're having to change, or they're not in existence right now. So we're in a very tough time, but we're trying to be positive, because there's a lot of opportunity here. There's a lot, and I'm super stoked.
Yeah,
I haven't been busier, but I've been on Zoom all day, and I still have 2 more hours to go. This is great.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I won't keep you on here too long, so you can get going to the next.
Yeah.
The next many meetings I'm sure you have every day now that you're doing all these conferences.
Oh, always. But if I could also say, part of the other thing is that I've been able to watch is, my other role is I do the market development for Canada for CD Baby, online music distributor for DIY artists. And, I've seen so many artists release music during this time, and they're being very creative. And it's so good to see. Mikey and his uke is an example, but it's good to see artists that are really trying to get through it. They're being creative, but they're being more creative. They're kind of pushed into, hey, let's try stuff. A lot of collaborations are happening. There's been more music than ever before released. I can attest to that. Like last year was like, holy, when COVID hit, it's like everybody just said, I'm going to release everything I got. And wow, it was like our staff called it, it's like a tsunami, of a wave of how many uploads there were. It was just crazy, and we were all at home.
Were you guys expecting that? Because I know when this pandemic hit,
No.
we were talking with the Dropout team, we're like, there's going to be no music, there's going to be no videos this year, and then yeah, more music.
Yeah. Well, it was an interesting thing because like we got behind, like, and artists would be like, "Hey, I just uploaded. When can I get it out?" And I'm like, "We're all at home. Like all the staff that's normally going through every submission and making sure it's correct and delivered properly, we just sent them home because everybody can't be in office." And so our whole staff was at home and refiguring out how to do things and how to work. And I got to commend them. Like, this company has been so great to work with, that the message from the leaders all the way down has been always, if it's good for the artists, do it. And you know, it really aligns with the values that I've had with Indie Week and all the projects I've been involved with, that they're really pushing to help artists make money and how to monetize their content. And you know, it's like I said, that part too, it's helped me get through this stuff because the leadership has been great. And you know, I get to have these calls with artists and talk about what they're doing and sharing ideas. And you know, that the call earlier was a great one. Like, you know, that channel didn't exist 10 months ago, and now it's 11,000 plus followers. And so being able to help artists has been the mandate. And now I just feel I get to do it all day long, which is pretty cool.
Awesome. Cool. Okay. Well, yeah, I really appreciate all these little tidbits. Like, honestly, I talk to so many people, and some of them are like, this is the end. Like, there's not much we can do. But talking to people like you, who, like, I'm sure just throughout the course of this conversation, you named at least, you know, 15, 20 things that bands can be doing throughout this to keep everything moving forward.
There's so many things. Like, if anything, digital is anything. So that means you can do anything. Like, hey, okay, can we partner with a local Mexican restaurant in Ottawa to host a night as if we're playing there, but we'll do it online and people can order takeout from them. And we could possibly find a local distributor of a Mexican tequila to maybe help sponsor it or something.
Yeah.
Done. So we could, like, that couldn't happen before.
Definitely. Like, maybe it could have, but that would have been like such a whack idea. Whereas now, anything to keep moving forward is a great idea. The genius ways that I've seen artists coming up and like doing all these things, I feel like we would have never seen if it wasn't for this pandemic.
Not at all. Not at all. And if I could say one other thing, I remember when drum machines came out and CDs were saying no machines were used to create this recording, right?
Yeah.
I would love to see if any CD could say that right now. Oh wait, you can't put it on a CD, but if there was CDs, could anything say that? So artists were resistant to that. Now that it's normal, yeah, and we're moving on past that, right? So, and I was part of that resistance. Like, I'm like, no way, man, we got to play it over and over until we get it right.
Yeah.
And others were like, oh, I took me an hour in the studio to set up and it's down, you know, yeah, where it's like, oh man, that drum feels really tough. My drummer's not getting it. Like, we do it over, like, cost us tons of money.
Yeah.
So, you know, things change and we got to accept it.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good note to end here on. Do you got any last messages about people should definitely be going to Screen by Screen? Anything else?
Yeah, so 2 websites to check out is indieweek.com, indieweek.com, and then Screen by Screen, and it's screenxscreen.com. And we're posting information every day leading up to the event. More speakers being added, filling in some of the talks. There's still a couple of gaps. We're just waiting on a couple of confirmations. But it's going to be top level people talking in AI, gaming, VR, and live streaming.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah. Well, everybody watching, make sure you check that out. Darryl, thanks so much for coming on and giving us all this information today.
Thank you so much. This is awesome.